Welcome back. This is episode 140 of the NYYST podcast. I'm your host, Christian. As always, joined by my co-host, Chris.
You.
And are you preoccupied with something?
No, I'm just looking at a picture.
Are you, a picture of what?
The Yankees on their plane wearing all those.
Because right before we opened.
What up? You didn't even give me my intro today.
Oh, because right before we opened, Chris was talking about anime porn. And
no, you suggested
That's
it
how
to
we're
me.
starting this
Yes.
podcast.
Anime porn.
I didn't suggest it to you. I told you that I don't like watching anime, and I was upset that Netflix is bringing He-Man back as an anime series, and you were like, anime porn?
That's the only anime I've ever heard of. I didn't know anime was like an actual category.
It's pretty popular.
I've only known anime porn. Never watched it.
Animal porn, that's what you just
No,
said.
no. Don't get me in trouble.
And Stat Guy Rye.
What up?
I feel so out of the loop because I was away last weekend. So, I don't know.
I feel like the three of us in the middle of this season, like the most important times we've all
Is it really that important, though?
It really not. It really not.
If Mikey Francisco can take off 9 weeks in the summer,
That's true. I thought about that. All these guys take off.
I need a break.
As much as I love doing this podcast and as important as it is to me, I'm still going to enjoy my summer. And if that means I got to miss a show or two during the summer, then I'm going to do that.
Well, you love Wildwood.
I like,
It's not even that you love summer.
I like going to the beach. That's
You have your own parking spot at the beach in
yeah,
Wildwood?
bro. I spray painted my fucking name right on, right there.
Take the mic off, bro. Do a little set for us.
No, don't do that.
Is that what you want?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was down the shore last weekend, just a quick weekend trip. Hopefully you guys didn't burn down my she shed.
Well, if you watch and listen to the show when you're not on it, you would.
I don't. I told Ryan.
Can you raise your mic so that you're there? You go.
I told Ryan the week after I was on vacation that you were on vacation that I'm such an egomaniac that if it has nothing to do with me,
I know. I listened.
that I won't listen to it.
You know what the best part of this new setup is? That I have such an easy hit of your face now.
I thought of that
when I eventually
thought of it.
punch you
I did think of that
for the pod.
I didn't think of it
I just wanna
until
do it right now.
until right before we started recording, like an hour ago.
You know, it's late. I don't really have the energy to pick him up and continue the
Look
show.
how long my arm is.
That counts.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
You
no,
leaned into
it doesn't.
That was like a pitch. If you lean into it, it's a
That
strike.
absolutely doesn't count. Is there? Do we ever set an expiration date on that?
No.
Yeah, it passed.
No, it didn't.
No,
All right. In fairness
it's
to
definitely got to be before the end of the season.
no. In fairness to
Or
Chris,
maybe it's right after the end of the season.
Okay. The punch on the pod has to occur before the Yankees report to spring training for the 2020 season.
All right.
Wow. All right,
Sounds
that's fair.
good. I like it.
Okay. So the last pod before they report to spring training for the 2020 season, so sometime early February, if you don't punch him, the pass expires and goes to him.
Wow.
And then it flips.
It flips. And then
Okay,
Chris
that's fine,
has
that's
until
fair.
the All-Star break
I like
to punch
this.
you. And then if neither of you punch each other, then I get to throw the air conditioner at both of you.
Before, if
That
you
would
made
be
it through the
smart.
anime porn segment of the show, and you're still listening, can you please leave us a rating and review on iTunes? We haven't gotten that many lately, and I'm upset. And I'd like some 5-star ratings and reviews. If you're watching on YouTube, hit subscribe, hit the like button, that little thumbs up there. Okay.
Okay, so that's the ruling. I'm an independent arbitrator on the punch on the pod. That's the ruling. Ryan has to pull the trigger before
they report.
they report to spring training for
I think that's fair.
2020. And if he doesn't, Chris gets to hold that in his hands until
I think that's fair.
the All-Star break of 2020. Then it reverses.
Deal.
And if neither of you do it,
That just gives me more incentive to punch you.
yeah. If neither of you do it, then you will be unmercifully bashed for being a couple of bitches.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely gonna.
And
do
then
it,
after you call us that, we'll just pounce on you and tee off on your face.
Okay, because that's not gonna happen. Okay, because you're a wimp. Okay,
I would kick your ass in 3 seconds.
Here we go. These are one of those types of things that you just let him go with, so it fills his ego meter.
The Astros won today.
Oh my god, I'm so scared.
I'm not even looking at the division anymore.
Red Sox won.
I don't even care about the AL East anymore.
Rays won.
I care about the Astros.
So what? The lead's 9.
It's over. If they blow this, they don't deserve it.
You know what? I got people that tweet me every day. They come up with the new math on how the Yankees will blow the division, and I'm just like, come on, like. If they blow this division, I mean, then what are we even talking about here? I'm not even excited for the postseason if they blow this division.
Right, because clearly something catastrophic happened.
I mean, what else could happen? Even now, you just look at the guys in the last week or so that have wound up on the IL, like Jonathan Holder, Steven Tarpley, today, friggin' Tyro Estrada.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Who hasn't been affected by an injury of some type in this season? Okay, Gardner's been on the IL. Even though Glaber and DJ LeMahieu have avoided IL stints, they've still been hurt and missed games. Nobody's been completely healthy this year. Nobody.
I know.
So, I mean, if the Yankees just survive this,
they can survive it.
I'm sure that they'll hold on, and I'm going to stick by this. They will not be challenged in this division over the course of how many games are left? Like 37, 38 games?
Yeah, something like that.
They're not going to be challenged, and when I say challenged, that means that the lead is going to get down to 4 games. They won't feel Tampa Bay's breath on their neck for the rest of the year. Okay, it's just not going to happen.
No, and again, and if they do, something wrong has happened because what'd we say? 9 games. 8 games. I mean,
it's not in the loss column, right?
Yeah.
You're telling me then that even if it gets close, the Tampa Bay Rays finish the season winning what? Gaining 4 games, 5 games on this team? There's no way.
No, and how many times do they even?
The Yankees are 83 and 43, which means they played 126, so out of 162. There's 36 games left. The Yankees are going to blow a 9-game lead with 36 games to play. I don't see it happening.
I mean, it's happened.
They only play the Rays 2 more times, so it's not like the Rays can
okay.
do it themselves.
Where at the Trop?
In September, they play, in Tropicana.
Or the Yankee. I don't really, honestly.
Just 2 games.
And we're going to get to some fan questions later on in the show, and one of the questions is about this. I don't really expect the Yankees to play great this week. They're going out west. It's late in the season. They never play well in Oakland. The Dodgers are the best team in the NL, and then they're playing Seattle. So, if they go 4-5, are you going to cry about it? No.
No, I think they go 4-5. That's a winning. That's a road trip that
you knock 9 games off the schedule playing basically 500 baseball.
We've talked about it. They gotta. You don't want them to play 500 baseball.
No, you kind of do because.
But at this point, it's getting the job done. Now, something me and Ryan talked about last week was, this division is locked up. We can say it's locked up, but you still care a lot about winning home field advantage throughout. You do. It's very important. If they're gonna play the Astros, it's very important that they play them with home field advantage.
Oh, absolutely. I 100% agree with that. And my counterpoint to that, however, is that as important as it is, I'm not going to risk further injury.
Well, that's what we were weighing. I think we were weighing like when does it get to a point where...
Before you get to that, the Yankees play 36 games left in the rest of the regular season, right? They play 500 baseball. They'll win 101 games. Are the Rays getting to 102?
No, there's no way.
It will take 102 wins for the Rays to top the Yankees. But again,
I don't think that's even the main focus anymore.
No, but I'm saying, but there's still people out there that are trying to find ways, and people that call themselves Yankee fans are trying to find ways that the Yankees are going to blow this, that they don't think the Yankees are going to hold on to a 9-game lead with, what did we say, 36 games left to play?
And again, if they don't, then they don't deserve to win this division.
If they go 18-18 the rest of the way, they're going to finish with 101 wins.
But just to your point, Chris, with home field advantage, the Yankees this year at home are 49-20. The Houston Astros at home are 43-15. So
No, the
It's gonna be
Yankees need.
important.
No, it's very important that the Yankees need to finish with the best record in not only in the American League but in all of baseball, because your hope is that they get to the World Series and you
Yeah,
want to
true.
play Game 7, all Game 7s in your own building. But I'm not going to risk it at the at the expense of my players' health.
And that's something that you just brought up, and it's something that we talked about last week. When does it get to a point where you say, okay, we need to have the best record in baseball, but we're not going to push it here because we can't afford any more injuries? What's more important? What outweighs the other
Being
at that
healthy.
point?
Absolutely being healthy.
Yeah.
Dodgers are 48-16 at home.
So
too,
what do
they're
you-
All
good.
these teams are great at home.
Yeah.
So then tell me this. Give me an example where you would be protecting a player.
All right, Gleyber Torres' core acts up the last week of the season again. You gonna ride him that last week?
No.
Division's locked up. You're down a game for best record.
No.
No, I don't think they're going to have to do that with this roster.
But do you start benching all these guys a lot in September? Like, I'm talking, they play 2 games, they sit.
I reevaluate once the division is officially clinched is when I start reevaluating things. I might not even play any of my guys. With the 40-man rosters, you could really take it easy the last 10, 12 games of the year, and you might want to. If DJ's groin acts up and you're tied with Houston for the final in the final 3 games, you're tied with Houston for best record, and DJ's groin is acting up again, what's more important? Honestly,
Yeah, no,
would you rather have a healthy DJ LeMahieu going
Yes.
into the postseason?
100%.
Plus, you have series against teams like the Rangers, the Tigers, the Angels. So
Because
you're
you
not gonna
you
be
have a
playing-
better chance of winning on the road with DJ LeMahieu healthy than you do at home without DJ LeMahieu at all.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not risking any of my guys' health for chasing the best record. If my guys are healthy and they want to play because they're ready, they're good to go, yeah, I'm going to go for it, because I understand how important Game 7 in Yankee Stadium is, because honestly, it's the biggest reason why they didn't win the ALCS in 2017. That Game 7 was in Yankee Stadium. They're probably in the World Series.
I said that last week too. I said you look at 2017. If that Game 7 is in New York, the New York Yankees are winning the AL pennant and they're playing in the World Series that year. End of story. They didn't lose one game at home that whole postseason.
But if if you determine that Judge needs a couple days off towards the end of the year, I'm going to give it to him.
Yeah.
I'm not going to ride. I'm telling you right now. And if it comes down to the last week of the season, where it's to see if Sevy can give me 4 or 5 innings, and I gotta stretch him out a little bit, and I might quote punt that game as opposed to putting Herman out there, who's been my ace. Honestly, finding out if Sevy can be a weapon in the postseason is more important. So I'm going to use that game as an experiment.
Yeah, I agree. And speaking of Sevy, everything I've heard seems to be positive so far.
Well, he pitched a sim game today, so
Yeah,
we'll see how he comes. We got to see how he wakes up in the morning.
But think about all the negative we've heard of him, and everything's been positive so far. So you got to hope that he stays healthy here, and we get to see him in some games in September.
All right, so since the last time we did a show, since the show was put
All
out,
of us.
Well, since there was an episode of the NYYST podcast, the Yankees went. Where did they go?
They went 6-2 on this
6-2
on this homestand,
right? So they beat up Baltimore. Who cares? They won. But as I was on with our friend Munch out in Cleveland this week, and we were talking about this. It doesn't matter to me that the Orioles are as bad as they are. To beat a team 16 consecutive times is impressive.
It's tough. Because
you would think that along the way somewhere they get a fluke win, or the Yankees they get a good pitching performance from somebody.
Look at them against the Red Sox. The Red Sox haven't beaten them that many times, and I'm sorry, I know the Red Sox aren't as good as they were last year, but they're still the Boston Red Sox.
How many times did the Yankees played them in a doubleheader this past week? What do you usually do in doubleheaders? Split.
Not this year for the Yankees.
And the Yankees, what did they go 14-5 in these last 19 games, where they played 19 games in 17 days?
Yeah.
I mean, come on. There's too much negativity surrounding this team, and I understand that, you're not going to feel satisfied unless they win the World Series, but we're not there yet. We're in the middle of August. It's just let's just look at what's going on now.
That's the problem. The problem is that the fans have gotten so hungry for a championship that everything is looking ahead instead of just enjoying what's happening right now. This team has had every single excuse in the book to be a shit team this year. And they are not. They are the best in baseball. And I don't know if that's still true after today. Did the Dodgers win?
Did you have a Dodger dog for dinner?
What's a Dodger dog?
That's what they call their hot dogs out there.
Yankees are still the best in baseball.
There you go.
Okay, so okay. But take a look at the Cleveland series here. They just wrapped up today. Yankees lost 8-4. They split with the Indians. I was at the stadium Thursday. What an abomination that was. Before you even sat down, it was 7-0. And, does that change your mind about them possibly using an opener in the postseason that Jag Green had pretty much nothing?
No. No, it doesn't. Because look at what he's done in his whole body of work this year. And again, you can't just look at his ERA.
It doesn't really mean anything.
You have to go into...
You have to look at his ERA is as an opener.
And I think before that game, I don't know about after, but before that game as an opener, he had a 1.86 ERA, I believe.
I think Katie Sharp tweeted during the game that his last 9 opener appearances over like 12 and a third innings, he hadn't allowed a run.
That's phenomenal. Now, do they really want to do that? Do they want to use the opener? I think it depends on Sevy coming back and how much they feel they can trust him. Because if you have Sevy, you obviously are throwing Tanaka out there. Herman, Paxton, I mean, you probably don't need the opener. Where's the opener going to fit in?
Well, let's look at this series from a pitching perspective. They split the series. They won the middle 2 games. What did the middle 2 games have in common? The Yankees used a legitimate starting pitcher in both of those games.
I thought about that today.
And they were able to roll out their bullpen and win those games. Thursday night, they used an opener, went to NYYST. It didn't work. We wound up seeing Mike Ford pitch in the game, which it is what it is. I don't know. He seemed to be having a couple of good chuckles out of it. I didn't, sitting in the stadium, think it was all that funny losing 19-5 with Mike Ford on the mound, but
I didn't. I didn't care for it.
Tanaka backed up he went into the 9th inning against Toronto last weekend, backed that up with 6 1/3, 2 runs against Cleveland. So you got to feel encouraged that he's starting to round into shape. He said that he was working with Larry on gripping his splitter, slider, whatever. I forget what they said.
Splitter looks much better.
Okay, so, he's working with the pitching coach on that, but Larry doesn't do anything. So it was probably some video that he watched on YouTube.
Right.
And then yesterday, Saturday, because you listen Monday morning, Paxton gave up 4 over 5 innings. Not great. Again, gave up a 2 spot in the first. Seemed to settle in. And then it was that, the 4th inning where he gave up a pair of runs. He really should have been out of it because he had, I can't remember the batter. I want to say it was Santana. He had him struck out. The umpire didn't miss the pitch. Then he proceeds to give up another couple.
Was that the 1-2 count? And then he
it was a 1-2 count.
The pitch was up a little
Top
bit.
of the 5th you're talking about?
Was it the 5th where he gave up the 2 runs? I thought it was the 4th.
To sharp ground ball to left field. It went to talk.
I know he had a 1-2 count. I was listening. I was driving. And I was just so pissed. I didn't realize the umpire missed the call that bad. But I was so pissed that on a 1-2 count.
Yeah, it was the top of the 5th inning.
That scored Lindor, and then Puig was up next, and he drove in another run.
It was Santana. Santana, if you go back and watch that at bat, Santana, it was probably it was a strike. Okay, he should have punched him out on it. He didn't. Then he gets a hit, scores Lindor. Puig comes up, gets a hit, tie game. Okay, so if things go a little bit differently, now we're looking at where he gives up 2 over 5. Maybe he gets to go into the 6th, which is really, if you're looking for, even though he gave up 4 runs over 5 innings. LeMahieu came back in the bottom of the 5th and took the lead back with a home run. You're really only in the postseason. This Boone is only really looking for starters to get through 5 innings tied or with the lead.
Yeah, and I thought of this today. You just brought this up, but you really want to evaluate the Yankees against the playoff team, which could be the Indians coming out of the Central Division. I thought of what you just said, where those 2 games they lose, that's not happening in the postseason. You're not throwing CC Sabathia on the mound in the postseason. Even if you want to say the opener, the Yankees are up in that series 2-1. You think CC Sabathia is coming out for Game 4?
And even Friday night, the Yankees won 3-2. Tanaka gave up a run in the 7th inning because he went 6 1/3. You know, in the postseason, Boone's he's gonna have stars in his eyes when Tanaka gives him 6 runs, 6 innings over one inning. He's not gonna let him pitch the 7th inning. Mm-hmm. So, you know, he managed things a little bit differently because it still is the regular season, but you can see where the formula is for the starting pitching come postseason. So that was the encouraging sign that even though they split, that the 2 games where they put guys that you would expect to be on the mound come October, they won those games.
I think if Herman continues to pitch the way he's been pitching, if Sevy comes back dominant, you could see a situation where James Paxton has an opener in the postseason. And here's why. And here's what I'll say. Don't get angry just yet. I agree with you. His first inning is any inning he comes in. But I was saying to Ryan last week that if that's going to be effective, if that's ever going to work, then in that first inning when he's not pitching, he needs to be throwing a simulated inning in the bullpen where he's no longer warming up. He is pitching max in the bullpen in a simulated inning. So that way when he does come in the second or third, whenever that's going to be.
What if it's just him being on that mound, finding out what works that day? Then you're going to prolong it where he gives up.
Well, then maybe that's something you experiment with moving forward.
If
right
they
now
are going to do that, that's something that they're going to have to address before the end of the season.
I
where
don't know if I want to use it. If I'm going to use an opener, I don't know if I want to use it with Paxton because he's really one of the guys that has the ability to go in there and shut a lineup down for 7 innings. So why am I using an opener with him?
I just wouldn't change it for his sake because that's something that you have to test out and see if you can come out of the bullpen.
What are you saying to him going forward? You're hoping that this guy's a player for you for the next couple of years. What are you saying to him going forward? Oh, we don't trust you in the first inning anymore, so here's an opener? Yeah. No, this guy's supposed to be at least your number 2.
That's true. I just
That's
don't
why
know.
I don't agree with things like, oh, let's move Judge down the lineup. No, this is supposed to be your guy. What are you saying to him that he's in a slump, so now he doesn't get to bat second anymore? You let it ride.
There's certain situations where it's more than just this season, and that's something that has long-term.
If he was a free agent at the end of the year, I'd say screw. Who the hell cares? But he's not.
And I feel like Judge is starting to come around. He had a couple good games, and he's starting to turn on that inside pitch a bit. He's still not fully there, but he's starting to turn on that inside pitch a bit, which for me, I think shows that he's not favoring the oblique as much, that he's turning on the ball that well. And I think that's really been the main concern there.
So CC came off the IL today. He really didn't have it. He gave up 4 runs in the second inning, only won 3 innings. I said this on when I was with Munch on Thursday because, being coming up with Cleveland, they have they do hold a special place for CC there. What's left in the tank? There's really not a lot left in that tank.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree with that, but I also think that this lineup is just terrible for CC Sabathia with switch hitters.
I agree, but I just
Puig being a righty.
I don't know. I just don't think there's much left right now.
I know. I don't know.
What does this team do then? I mean, what do you do with CC Sabathia? Because if he was going out there, right, and he was throwing 6-7 innings every time out, you could say, look, we got a comfortable lead. We're going to keep throwing him out there. He's eating innings up. But the fact is, he's not going to eat up innings for you.
I really think it might be almost an audition process for this last month and a half between him, Jay Happ, and Nestor Cortez, and those 3 might have to battle it out for a playoff spot.
Oh, Happ's winning easily, to be honest with you.
But it might be 2 out of those 3. I think 2 of those 3 will make the playoff roster, and 1 of them will be left out, whether it be Nestor, CC, or Happ.
Well, if you went opener, right, and then you wanted somebody to pitch 2 or 3 innings, would you feel more comfortable with Happ?
I'd go Happ.
I think Happ.
See, I think Happ would be the one more fit for an opener because his stuff complements Chad Green more. Where if you go Chad Green as an opener and then go to Paxton, they have very similar repertoire.
I don't know. There's not a really good answer. The answer is that Tanaka becomes the playoff ace like he's been. Herman continues to pitch at this high level, and we don't have to worry about him hitting a wall because he's at a certain innings limit. Paxton finds the balls that he had when the eagle landed on him and uses them on the mound. Okay, and then not in the division series, but if you are hoping to get to the American League Championship Series for a fourth starter, that Sevy's a guy that by that point can give you 4 innings, and then maybe you can go, you want to go Chad Green open Sevy 4, and then you go to your bullpen. Is that something you want to do? I think that's a better answer.
I think that's the formula, regardless.
I think that's a better answer than worrying about whether Happ or Sabathia are going to take the ball. And if I see Nestor Cortez pitching fucking innings in the postseason, something bad happened.
Yeah, no, that shouldn't be happening, because Nestor Cortez has done his job and he's done it fairly well. But if you really look at,
he's a dog and pony show. That's what he is.
He's not good. Like, you can't sit here and say Nestor Cortez is good. He stepped up in big spots.
No, he did it. Yeah, he did an admirable job this year.
But he's
do
not
I want him
good.
pitching in October?
No, he's not good.
But now you have to also consider that if Severino and Betances both come back healthy, that's 2 pitchers that they're going to have to include in the postseason roster. So,
well, yeah,
that really would hurt.
That's kind of what I was getting
I
at
think
before.
Sabathia's postseason chances are going to really rely on the health of Severino and Dellin Betances, and whether those 2 come back and contribute.
It could. It absolutely could.
Yeah, you gotta get what do you call it? You gotta get Betances back and start seeing him in games. You gotta
Did he throw a simulated game?
No, Betances threw off the mound today.
He
Sevy
did.
threw a simulated game.
Sevy's up to a simulated game at this point. But
Saying maybe end of August or September for
as much as we can sit here and say that the Yankees should have went out and got a pitcher, they're not going to be able to win without a pitcher. If you really think about it, if Severino comes back and he's the guy that we expect him to be every single season, if he comes back as that guy, you actually are sitting here and saying, okay, Sevy's a guy we can throw out there. You got Paxton here as your number 2 or 1A, whatever you want to call him. Tanaka, who's lights out in the postseason. And Domingo Germán, who's putting together a really, really good season. And he's a guy who you really didn't expect it from.
And they win when he pitches. Clearly.
He's 16-2 this year. His ERA shouldn't be as high as it is.
It's a little inflated. You take out those games when he was clearly hurt, we didn't know, and his ERA is in the low 3s.
And you'd be talking about him as a potential Cy Young candidate.
Right.
You really would.
You really would.
He's been
100%.
that good. Honestly, he's been that good this year.
Because I know wins don't matter, but when you have that many more wins than you do losses and you're getting closer to 20, it does mean something. It does hold its weight somewhere.
All right, so, Yankees split with Cleveland. I mean, it's really it's not good. It's not bad. It is what it is.
I think it's good. I mean, given the games they won, I think they were pretty good wins.
No, I'm encouraged by the fact that the games where they threw legit starting pitchers out there, guys you expect to see on the bump in October, they won. Okay, now you're going to say, oh, what about Chad Green in the opener? Well, you know what? The guy was bound to throw a shitty performance out there, right? How good has he been as the opener? Guys, sometimes
they haven't even friggin' lost any. I want to back up your Domingo Germán point. He had 2 terrible starts. One where he gave up 7 earned runs against the Royals. That was May 26th.
And that is, he was probably hurt then.
Then July 23rd at Minnesota, he gave up
that was the one.
runs.
That was the one. If you're going to put a star next to a quote bad performance, that's the one.
He didn't allow more than 4 runs.
That was after his IL stint.
Yeah, but everybody was bad that turn. Remember?
Didn't allow more than 4 runs any other point of the season.
But if you look, the thing that really impressed me about Domingo Germán is the team was reeling a little bit when they lost 3 straight to Boston. He went out there on Sunday Night Baseball, and you're not gonna throw Bose over 5 1/3, giving up 3 runs, but he stepped up.
No, but go back to the episode. Go back to the episode when you said that this was going to really tell us who he was as a pitcher. And he went out there and he was phenomenal.
He gives them length too, because he goes 6 innings consistently.
I'll tell you what.
I bet he's 1 or 2 for innings pitched.
I'll tell you what too.
Tanaka maybe.
Tanaka,
I'm gonna pull it
You
up.
go into Tanaka's game logs, he throws a lot of innings. He's in the 6th inning a lot of games. There's more games where he's in the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, obviously, a couple times. There's more of those games than, 5 innings, 4 innings, so on and so forth.
Well, you got something, right?
No, I was just seeing who threw more innings, Tanaka or Herman. How many more innings do you think Tanaka's thrown than Herman?
I don't know,
30.
20.
About like 25. 144 innings pitched for
Yeah,
Tanaka,
and
116 for
Has
Herman,
Tanaka
who was hurt.
had a stint where they skipped a couple starts?
You give them an extra day when they can.
Because
Give
I
him
think if
extended.
Herman's healthy all year,
Yeah,
he's
right
got
up
him.
there. Yeah, definitely.
Domingo Herman missed what? 3
About a
starts?
month. He missed
4
about a
starts?
month.
So, yeah, I mean, but we don't really care about inning eaters come October.
No, you really don't.
You care about guys who are going to hand the ball off with either a tie game or your team in the lead.
All right.
And James Paxton right now, even though outside of that first inning, he's been pretty good for the most part, I don't know how comfortable I feel with handing him the ball when he's notorious now for giving up runs in the first inning.
Okay, but but like yesterday, he gets that call on Santana, right? He goes 5 innings, only gives up 2 runs. Are you going to say no to that?
No,
Was
I'm
it-
not.
But this is what I was talking to somebody about on Twitter yesterday, and they were arguing with me. I don't want to fall behind early, which is a fair point. But
Especially in October.
if you know your starter's giving up 2 runs, why wouldn't you rather him just get it out of the way? Wouldn't you feel more comfortable with this?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
with
but
this-
there's a difference in a big game.
Look at
when
the
you're
2017 AL wildcard game. They were down 3-0.
Yeah,
after that
but-
Don't you
first
feel
inning.
confident with this lineup to have
Yeah.
9 innings
Yes,
to
and I'm
overcome
not
2
saying
runs?
they can't overcome something like that, but in big games, it becomes a little different. When you're playing a team who's as good and as dangerous as the Cleveland Indians can be, if you're playing them in the ALDS in a 5-game series, it becomes a lot different
All right,
when
so
you're
don't-
handing the
all right,
momentum.
So now you're talking about something different now. So now you're talking about that we can't throw James Paxton out there.
I'm not saying that you can't and that they won't. I'm saying that I would be a little more concerned than you sound.
No, I'm not. I'm honestly, I'm not. I don't care when the runs come up. I know my starter's probably not pitching a shutout. He's going to give up 2 runs over 6 innings. Get it out of the way early. Settle in. Give them that false sense of security where they're like, oh, we're going to hit you today, and then boom.
But now you're contradicting yourself a little because giving it up early, you're not in the game for that long. We just said that.
What do you mean you're not in the game for that
In the
long?
postseason, you're not in the game for that long. You're going to throw 4 innings. You want him to get runs out of the way early? He's not going to be in it that long.
He's going to pitch 5 or 6 innings.
4 or 5 is all I need out of my starter in the postseason.
I'll tell you what. Where are you going to get the extra outs from if you're only asking 4 innings now?
Severino.
Canley.
You want these
Betances
guys
if he's
pitching
healthy.
more than
I
anything?
think Severino's
I don't
gonna
know
be
what
the
you're gonna-
bridge.
I don't know what.
Ottavino.
I don't. You're going to use him as a strictly reliever, have him throw
Yeah.
2 or 3 times in a series.
Betances. Canley. Ottavino.
You got to remember,
Britton.
dude, they haven't
Chapman. That's 5 guys right there.
You're going to trust
Betances all year,
Betances
dude.
to give
I don't
you
know.
multiple.
Well, yeah, you got.
I don't know.
If he
I
can
said if
pitch in
Betances
September.
is healthy.
Same with Severino. I go Severino right out of the bullpen in September. I don't even give him any starts. Maybe just to give him some innings. But by the end of September, he's going out of the bullpen.
I think you might see Severino fill that opener role. I think that could happen.
I think if they are going to use an opener, it's going to be Chad Green.
Yeah, but what's the difference if you go Sevy
he's
to
done
Chad
it.
Green?
Because Chad Green's done that.
Because I think the Yankees are expecting. They're at least going to hope that Severino gets to the point where he can give him 3 or 4 innings.
I think he's going to be the bridge.
Then you're talking about something completely different. Then they shouldn't bother stretching him out as a starter.
Well, who knows?
Well,
Maybe
you got to
they're not-
see how
they're not
maybe
even
you see how
sure what they're gonna
Betances comes around, and then maybe Sevy goes into a bullpen role if they don't feel confident with him.
Do you think Severino is going to be able to bounce back where he can pitch 2 or 3 times in a week?
I do. I think
young.
The guy hasn't pitched all year. Now you're going to ask him to be.
yeah, but I think if the Yankees are throwing him out there, he's going to be
You gotta
100% ready to go.
You got to see how.
In any
there's
role
still a
they
lot
put
of
him in.
Season left.
In any role they put him in.
I don't like this shit where the 2 of you are on the same side of the fucking table. All right.
You don't
I
like
don't
talking.
like
to
it.
You want me to come
Agreement.
on your side?
No,
Next episode?
No. You know what I want? I want to bring my own tag team partner in here.
It was just for the punch. It was just to make the punch easier.
Yeah.
And I figured he
Clock's
wouldn't have to
Your
get.
tag team partner.
He would. He wouldn't have to get as much leverage just coming across, so it probably wouldn't hurt as bad.
When I'm in agreement with you, I'll.
Are you
Pull my
going
chair
you're going
around
to jump
and
back
come-
and
yeah,
forth?
yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's move off to the pitching here. And the other big story around the Yankees is this whole bullshit with the umpires. Apparently, Phil Cuzzy was telling the Yankees a big FU today with the way he was calling the zone, trying to tell them, hey, you know what? I'm the boss out here. You guys need to shut the hell up. And you know what? And I tweeted this earlier today. The Yankees just need to start biting their tongues, and because they have a reputation now. You know,
they're going to be made an example of at this point.
If you want to use the term whiny crybabies, that's up to you. But, you know, they're not afraid to chirp a little bit when they feel that they're being wronged. We watched as many games as anybody. You can see that there's issues with the strike zone. The Yankees are a little bit more vocal about it than other teams are. They're getting a reputation now. The umpires don't want to be embarrassed. And, you know, the Yankees are, you know, they're going to be made an example of. And I think Phil Cuzzy did a little bit of that today with the way that he was calling the game. And you got to give Aaron Boone credit for
biting his
keeping
tongue.
His composure today, because he could have easily got thrown out. But he knows what's better for the team right now. And it's, you know, you know, somebody was saying, oh, you know, he should yell and get ejected every game. No, he shouldn't. And it's the Yankees know, the players know that Boone has their back. It's not about that anymore. It's about what's best for the team. You think Brett Gardner getting ejected every time they want to give Aaron Judge rest is good for the team?
No. You
think Aaron Boone getting ejected every other game is good for the team?
No,
it's not. So, yeah, we all have fun with the Savages. It was a video and viral. The Yankees are making millions of dollars off of it. Everybody's got sticking their hand in the pie trying to make money off of it. It's a fun thing. But you know what that did more than anything? It put a target on the Yankees' back. Aaron Boone embarrassed the shit out of a young umpire in that game. He did. There's no other way around it. He embarrassed the hell out of that guy.
Yeah, and I'm okay with that.
Okay, you are, but you're not.
Major League Baseball might not be.
But you are not in the umpires union. And have you ever had a job where you worked in a union?
No.
Okay, I have. Okay, you don't fuck with the union.
Don't fuck with the union.
You don't. It doesn't matter if you like somebody or not. If you're in a union together, that's stronger than your personal distaste for another person. Okay, so Aaron Boone, you know, he embarrassed this kid that's in the umpires union, and the rest of the umpires are like, you know what? Who the fuck is Aaron Boone to do this to this guy?
Well, you see the hostility now in every single game that we watch. They do. They have a target on their back. Every single move they make is being watched, and every little thing is going to be scrutinized.
And what happened last weekend in Toronto with that smug douchebag? I don't even remember his name. The one when they threw Gardner out. He didn't even know who he was throwing out. He told Boone that he threw him out, but he didn't. He didn't really throw him out. That was another one. And then yesterday, we thought we were gonna have Savages Part 2 out there yesterday. You know, everybody last year was like, oh, Boone's soft. Boone doesn't argue, but he does. And you all were just too stupid to understand that. And you didn't really care to notice it until he did the catching thing last year. But he has his guys back. Everybody knows that, okay? It's out there. So the Yankees don't have to worry about having a manager that supports them and has their back in these situations. But what's more important right now is not pissing these umpires off. It really is. And I hate to say it that you're going to be like, oh, don't piss off the umpires. Don't. Because you really want to be put in a situation where the umpires are mad at the Yankees in the ninth inning of a crucial playoff game right now?
No, because they have the egos to truly go against anything that they want.
There's a borderline pitch, even a pitch that's not a strike, and you're looking at, you know, Judge is up, and we already seen how poorly Judge's strike zone is up. Judge is up in a big spot in the ninth inning with the Yankees down a run, and there's a runner on third. Who do you think's getting the call right there?
I agree.
They already have issues with calling Aaron Judge's strike zone. What do you think's going to go through the umpire's mind when Aaron Boone's already been yelling at them for 7 innings, 8 innings?
I just think that when you watch the tapes back and these calls on Aaron Judge, it has to stop. It's not fair to the player. These umpires need to adjust. And I'm sorry, the whole height thing is bullshit to me. That's bullshit to me. They got to be better than this. Some of these balls that they're calling strikes on Aaron Judge are almost it looks like they're almost in the dirt. They're that low. Why is his height coming into play at that point? I could see if it was borderline. These aren't even borderline. He's not that fucking tall.
somebody on the fan said this today. I don't know which host said it, but they made a good point. Okay, it's that the Yankees arguing balls and strikes right now is not going to change anything. All it's going to do is put a bigger target on their back where these umpires are going to look to get even with them. And the umpires they're going to have the last word. No matter how much bitching and screaming Aaron Boone does, what is that going to do? How is that going to change the strike zone?
It doesn't matter sometimes, because when your players are clearly angry and clearly frustrated, the point of a manager getting thrown out is to protect
but
the
now
rest of his players.
It's not about that anymore. Now it's about the Yankees versus the umpires, which is, I think...
it's become a battle now.
Okay, so it's got to stop. Honestly, it has to
clearly
stop.
You saw that it's stopping today, because there was plenty of times where I thought Boone was going out to get thrown out. And in the times where he started to chirp a little bit, when it got excessive, he had to walk away. And he walked away. He was frustrated. He made it clear that he was frustrated, but he walked away from the situation.
The way that things, and the host was saying, the way things are going to change is that you're going to have to do something in the offseason. You're going to have to get with, the commissioner's office or the union or whatever, and try to work on something. It's not going to change in season. All you're doing is pissing these umpires off more. Yeah, and nobody likes the umpires. They overall suck at what they do. We've seen how bad they've been, but they're going to have the last word. Guess who's going to call strike 3 on Aaron Judge to end Game 7 of the World Series? The umpire is, okay? So do you want that to happen? Do you want that?
No, you don't want that hostility. Like I said, they control the game.
I'd hope they'd be professional enough where.
But Phil Cuzzy wasn't today. That's the point.
I know he
wasn't today.
And he wasn't yesterday.
It's not worth that risk. But I hope that they don't allow Brett Gardner banging the top of a dugout with a bat to get in the way of calling the game the right way.
And you can't trust the umpires to be professional.
No, you can't.
And
look at how they acted in this series.
And to not take it personally, because we've seen the egos on these guys.
And, Judge is out there mimicking the banging, and, everybody's got their cute hashtag let Brett bang. Yeah, no, he shouldn't do that shit anymore.
No, you're right. He shouldn't anymore, but I disagree with the fact that that's something getting him thrown out of a baseball game. Because you want to know why he's doing it? He's doing it out of a voice for the team to show that they're frustrated without all of them going out there and telling the umpires to go screw.
But if he's getting ejected for it, he needs to stop.
Now he needs to stop. I agree. But whether you think it's immature, I've seen so many people say that it's immature, it's stupid, fine. If you feel that way, fine. But just know why he's doing it. He's not throwing a temper tantrum. He's doing it because clearly the entire team is angry at what's happening, and that he's using that as the entire team's voice to say, get fucking better out there. Stop.
Yeah. And guess who else knows why he's doing it?
Yeah, the umpires.
The umpires do.
Right. So you're right. He does have to stop now. And I think he said he's going to. I think he said it in the postgame that it's not going to happen anymore, because clearly he can't.
Regardless of whether or not there's an actual rule for it, something the umpires are looking for, they know why he's doing it. He needs to stop doing it.
That's the definition of having a target on your back. They know what's coming. They know what to look for. And if it happens, that's it. They're not going to tolerate it. Because what have all these videos done now? All these videos are great to watch and they're great entertainment. And I not saying they shouldn't happen, but what happens now is that these umpires know that everyone's laughing at them. That they all know that when Brett Gardner bangs his bat on the top of the dugout, there's going to be a viral video out there. And they're going to look like a bunch of idiots who allow it to happen. And that was clear yesterday when Phil Cuzzy came over, did the whole mimicking of Brett Gardner, and tossed his ass out of the game. They're not going to put up with it anymore. So, yes, now it has to stop. Although, I'm a huge fan of it. You want to get to questions?
I don't know. What does Ryan want to do?
What do you want to do, Ryan?
Yeah, we'll do some questions.
You want some questions, Christian? You want questions?
From Twitter?
I got some Twitter questions
for us. You want some
tweeters? All right, first question comes from, I'm sorry if I mess up your name. I know you've been a follower of ours for a long time. Nat Candelaria. I think I did that right. At Nat Candelaria 24.
She was one of the shout-outs on Munch.
Yes, on Munch. Nat, you got shouted out on Fox Sports when Christian was on with Munch in Ohio. Should we be worried about the starting pitching coming into October. We kind of touched on all that. I don't want to sit here and say no, you shouldn't be worried. I think a lot of things have to play out for you not to be worried. I think Sevy has to come back strong, whether that be as a starting pitcher or a guy you can use to build your bullpen even stronger than it already is. And there's going to be one guy I think that makes or breaks the starting pitching in the postseason, and I think it's James Paxton. I think James Paxton has to step up to the plate and be good in the big game. And I think if that can happen, this team is going to be very, very tough to beat.
Sorry, I fell asleep while you were talking because you're so boring.
Well, maybe if you fucking listened, you'd learn a little bit.
I did hear. I don't fucking
because you
learn
say the
shit
same
from
things
you.
over and over. So maybe you should just fucking listen.
We really do think that James Paxton's a great pitcher.
Now, you want to talk about crazy viral videos? Did you see when he got pulled over by the
Yes.
cops?
There's
That was-
video
We talked
of that
about
out
it.
now?
Oh yeah.
The police officer's body cam was released. That
Officer,
shit
this is my
insane.
car. I didn't do anything
He was
wrong.
like-
I promise.
He's
Get
like,
on the ground.
he's like, you look familiar, and he goes, yeah, I'm the Yankees.
Did they
GM.
pull a gun out on him?
Yes.
Yes.
Holy shit.
His car was on his car got stolen. He reported it stolen. The cops retrieved it, but never took it off the stolen list. So he's driving around in it. The cops see it, thinking the car's still friggin' stolen.
You think the guy that forgot to report it got DFA'd?
Oh yeah, big time.
Should the Yankees?
Damn, that's-
should we
that's
be
crazy.
worried about the Yankees starting pitching? What if you would have to say what their biggest weakness is heading into the postseason? You would say it's the
Starting pitching.
so yeah. Do I think it's as bad as people make it out to be? No, because we say it 100 times on here. Is Tanaka a playoff ace?
Yes.
My only concern about Herman really is fatigue level right now.
You know what I think's the make or break for starting pitching in the postseason?
And I agree with Chris that James Paxton is really the wild card in all of this. If you get good James Paxton like he was in a couple of that game against the Red Sox early in the year, and he's had a couple of other really good starts. If you get that James Paxton, that changes things completely.
Yeah.
I think a big factor is going to be Aaron Boone and his decisions to leave guys in, take guys out. He's going to have to mix and match a lot this postseason with all these bullpen arms, and he's going to be a major, major part of this team's
And here's
success
something I'll
in October.
back up on that. When the Yankees are winning close games, he's been a much better manager this year.
Yeah, I agree.
Even when they're down in close games, he's been a much
if
better
you had
manager.
to say his biggest weakness last season was his just the way he maneuvered his bullpen and his starting pitching, I haven't even noticed that this year.
No, he's been really good. His biggest issues came when they were down a run or two.
Right. Yes.
But guess who they didn't have last year? Tommy Kahnle.
Right.
I mean, Tommy Kahnle.
But guess who they don't have this year? Dylan Betances.
Yeah, but they might. They might.
don't right now. I'm saying all
Yeah.
season.
No, I know. Next question comes from Sean at Sean_NYY3. Garrett Cole or bust this offseason. You guys agree?
I'm not thinking about that yet, but that would be great. That's somebody that they definitely should
Again,
really try
you
to
know,
get.
yes, they should they go out and get him? Yes. Should they go out and spend a lot of money on him? Yes. But is it a bust if you, like we said, if Houston comes out there and drops this ridiculously large contract on him? No, and it's not a no.
It's not a bust. The only way, if money comes into play and the Yankees pass up on it, the only way it's not a bust is if James Paxton is dominant in the postseason, where you know now you have another guy that you can trust in the postseason.
And it's not a bust maybe even if Garrett Cole has a terrible postseason.
But if Paxton comes out and he's just falls apart in the spotlight, you're going to need a guy to add to this rotation that you know can be another ace next to Sevy.
yeah, but let's not even not
Yeah,
even
no.
think about the offseason yet.
Next question comes from Bartek Sarznik. Sorry, definitely not getting that right.
Wasn't that?
At BC Zarnik 23. What's the postseason rotation going to be as of today? Where does Sevy fit in best? Starter, bullpen, or opener type? Who's the most important player currently on the DL for the Yankees to get healthy?
Is that all one sentence?
Yeah. So let's start with the DL. Sevy, I'd say, is the most important at this point. No? I mean, you need Sevy to come back.
Yeah, I would say. Yeah.
If Tommy Kahnle wasn't pitching the way he was, I'd say it's Betances. But I think it's Sevy right now.
Yeah, I agree.
As far as Sevy's fit, we touch on this a lot this episode. We're gonna have to see. I mean, you have to see where he comes.
Yeah, I think that's really going to depend on how he pitches when he comes back off
His
the
best
IL.
fit is always going to be as a starting pitcher.
I disagree with Ryan's take that he might be a 1-2 inning bullpen guy where you might see 2 to 3 times in a series. I don't think that's the route the Yankees are going to go. I do. Maybe he might be an opener. I think he'll be a guy that follows an opener. Personally, I think
that is the bridge guy. That's kind of my definition of what I was trying to
So
say.
you were trying
So
to
he's
say.
like the next Nestor Cortez, but
Yeah,
as
I
Luis
They
Severino.
call
see
him. They call him bulk guys. That's
he's going to be the guy that pitches after the starter and before the big guys come in.
Yeah, but that's probably a once a series type thing that you'll see him in that role. I thought you were
well-
trying to see that he would be more of a traditional relief pitcher. Though that's what you were talking about.
No, I see him as like a hybrid of a reliever and a Nestor Cortez role player. You feel me?
And then the postseason rotation, again,
Tanaka in game 1, Herman game 2, and then from there, depending on the outcome of those 2 games, you go Paxton or Chad Green.
What would you feel more if the Yankees, God forbid, they fell behind 0-2 in the division series? Would you feel more comfortable
Severino.
throwing a Chad Green opener game or James Paxton in game 3?
James Paxton.
Oof.
James Paxton, because I think James Paxton has the mental makeup of a guy who's going to be successful in the big game.
I think it would also depend on the bullpen usage of the first 2 games there.
And as far as the rotation in the postseason goes, it all depends on who they're playing. If they're home, if they're on the road.
It doesn't though. Who gets the ball in game 1?
Well, game
Tanaka.
1 for me right now is Tanaka.
Okay, so that's really where you start, and then I think you go Herman game 2, and then
Definitely.
whatever you feel is best opener, James Paxton.
Has James Paxton been better at home or on the road this year?
I could
You
pull
have
that
a
up.
stat guy for those types.
I
of
think he's
things.
been much better at home.
Who, stat guy, Rye?
And that I think that's gonna play into this big time. I think if Jesus Christ, if Hap is pitching, we have a problem. But I think if Paxton has a chance to pitch at home, they're gonna pitch him at home.
At home, he has that is
I'll go to the next question while you look that up. I think I had some left on mine here. NY Yankee fan forever. At NY Yankee fan forever. How long before the commissioner throws a wet blanket on Brett's banging?
They already kind of did.
They already did. We just, target on their back.
I don't know if that was from the commissioner's office or not, but the umpires clearly did, and it's kind of a done. It kind of is a done deal at this point. I don't want to see him doing it anymore.
Paxton 13 starts at home. He's got a 4.02 ERA on the road with 9 starts, 5.21. So he's better at home.
Which both ERAs are atrocious.
65 innings at home, 48 and a third on the road.
So you want a guy with a 5.2 something ERA pitching on the road?
10 home runs at home, 11 on the road. So he gives up a lot of home runs at home. And
I
Just
guess
the
you're
whole
not
season.
using him then, unless you want to split Herman. You want to split the righties and put him in between Herman and Tanaka.
30 walks at home in 65 innings. That's a lot,
Okay,
right?
he sucks, Ryan. What do you want me to tell you? He sucks.
All right, I saved my favorite question for last.
Cool.
Smartest Yankee fan. At Genius Yankee fan. I don't even care to read into the rest of his handle.
You're dumb.
Here's a question. Why the hell should we be optimistic if we just got outscored 34-18 and our pitching looks disgusting and our bats are dead outside of playing Baltimore?
Maybe you're Maybe you're just stupid.
Okay.
Maybe you're just playing out.
Why should you be optimistic?
Why are you dumb? Like you call yourself Yankee genius, and
How are
that's-
you a Yankee fan even saying
They're
something like
fucking
that?
40 games over
Like, do you
500.
think the Yankees want that person to root for them even at that point?
No.
No, yes,
Come
they do.
on,
They
dude.
they want him to stand on line for 3.5
dude, they
innings
want
to
him-
buy a
his
$9
money.
hot dog. They do.
Here's your answer.
You're a dumbass. That's my answer. I'm sorry. If you listen
Smart
to this
Yankee
show and that
Yeah, I
is
don't
your take on the season so far, you're dumb. I'm sorry.
How could you be optimistic? This team is what,
They're
9,
40
10?
games over 500.
40 games over 500. They have the best record in
They
baseball.
have like 14 losses at home since April something.
Best record in the AL. Best record in baseball. What fucking more could this team do right now?
How are the bats dead?
Outside of the 98 team, this team has been the best team we've seen in decades.
You know, the Indians aren't throwing out Hammonagers on the mound out there. They managed to come away with a split. I mean, come on now. Let's be realistic. And what do you say about the pitching? Go back and listen to the fucking first 45 minutes of the show. They won the games that they had. They won the games with they had legit starting pitchers on the mound.
Crazy.
And they split a 4-game series after how many days in a row have they just played?
They played 19 games in 17 days.
Come on, man.
It's just fucking ridiculous.
Come on, smart Yankee fan.
Dumb Yankee
I don't
fan.
like calling out fans and stuff. But come on, dude.
No, but
he called himself out.
Don't root for the team then. Just don't watch baseball. If that's how you're gonna feel about what this team has done this season, then clearly you're either not watching or you just don't like the Yankees.
Right. Or you're just a troll.
Yeah, well, pick one, man.
You're atrocious. That's a good one. You're just atrocious.
You're an atrocious human being. Do you want to get off your phone and
No, I'm looking at scores, bro. Relax yourself.
you're looking at what?
Scores.
I can't hear you because you're not talking into
I
the
thought you
mic.
said stores.
You can lower your mic, you know.
Chris is watching
You
animal.
can't do it from there
He's watching animal porn again.
or from there.
He's watching.
How
animal.
about
You know this is an arm, right? It
I don't
moves
know.
up and down.
You know what?
Bring
You're
up-
gonna catch an arm in a minute.
Gleyber Torres has 29 home runs this year, and he has 7 games with two home runs, with 7 multi-home run games.
That's
So
crazy.
14 of his 29 home runs have come on the same day.
My prediction at the beginning of the year was not that Gleyber Torres would win MVP or even come close. It was that he would at least be in the discussion.
He's not.
Why?
Because he's not. He's just not. He's a 280 hitter. He doesn't have a lot of runs batted in. Yeah, his home run totals are good, but he's not. He's not even the MVP of this team. He's not going to be in the discussion.
He won't be top 10
I
in the
think he's in the
discussion of top 10.
Maybe, but I think he's in the
He's a second
he's in the
baseman.
discussion of elevating.
What
his
is that
games.
really though? What he might get a vote? He might get like
Yeah.
a third place vote, which would
Yeah,
lead-
no,
would-
that's all I said.
It's
That was
not- I mean,
that was my only prediction.
Something, yeah.
Was that he would somewhat be in the mix. Not that he would even come close to winning, which he won't. But he will be talked about.
No one's going to talk about him.
I don't know. All I know
You're
is that
You're the guy who
Nobody
talks
loves-
about value out of a position player, right?
Nobody
other
loves
second
Gleyber
base-
Torres more than I do, but to sit there and say that somebody's going to bring his name up when they talk about an actual MVP, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
I disagree. You have a second baseman who's going to hit over 30 home runs.
That's not even not even going to be considered the MVP of his team.
Okay. I'm not talking top 2 guys. I'm just saying
Will Gleyber Torres get a vote? Yeah, somebody will throw him a vote. They'll be like,
Okay.
"Oh, here's a
That's
here's a 7th place vote."
that's all I needed to hear.
Okay, so that's
Then I'm right.
Then you're okay.
That's all I predicted.
If you want, yeah, that's a shitty prediction
No, it wasn't.
because I can say that about 100 guys that'll get a 7th place vote.
Oh, yeah? Who else?
I don't know. Probably here.
How about this with Gleyber?
Xander Bogaerts will probably be a more legitimate MVP candidate than.
Probably. He's having a hell of a year.
Okay, and he's not even in the realm of discussion.
Yes, he is. He's just not going to win it. We all know who's going to win it.
Mike Trout's going to
And
win.
we know the 2 guys who are going to be the most debated.
Mike
It's
Trout.
gonna
End
be
of the
DJ and
day.
Trout.
It's not even really a debate when you look at what they're going to vote on. It's going to be Mike Trout.
You look at Gleyber Torres' stats from this year and last year, and he's improved in every category.
Yeah, he's
pretty
great.
much.
He's a
He's
phenomenal
22 years
baseball
old.
player.
He's 22 years old. Anybody that even had the slightest idea of trading him at the trade deadline is a fucking moron. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to say that. If you listen to this show and you thought, "Oh, you would trade Gleyber Torres for pitching," you're a fucking moron. I'm sorry. That's just the way it's going to be from here on out. I'm tired of it. I'm just tired of this shit. There's just too many people that think that they know what the hell is going on out there. Oh yeah, trade Gleyber Torres for pitching. Who? Yeah, fucking Robbie Ray. Yeah. Okay.
You're not trading Gleyber Torres for anyone.
You couldn't get me to trade Gleyber Torres for fucking Jacob deGrom, okay? You really couldn't.
No. Nor should you. He's too good of a player. He's untouchable. He might be the only untouchable guy this team
He's
has.
22 years old, and he's got 29 home runs. The guy isn't even close to being in his prime. Not even close. And this is where we're at with him right now. You're not trading him for anybody. He might win an MVP. He could win an MVP in the next 2 years. I think we're absolutely on that path for him.
If he's going to keep getting better, of course. And that's what you hope. He's got to stay healthy.
We did have another question here. Somebody quote tweeted it.
I didn't see it.
We'll just answer it here real quick. The Marv Zone. He thinks he's like some ESPN Times Square restaurant here. How do you realistically think the Yankees are going to do on this upcoming trip? They're going 0-9 because that's what you guys want. You want them to go 0-9. They're going to go 0-9. They're going to get embarrassed in Oakland. It's not even going to. I mean, really, should they even make the trip to Los Angeles? Should they even make it? Should you just skip over it and go to Seattle?
I think they're going to go 6-3. They have 9 games.
Yeah,
6-3. That's my prediction.
Honestly, they'll probably go 4-5. They don't play well in Oakland.
How many times have you said that this team's going to go 500 or they're going to go just under 500 or maybe just over 500 and they just somehow find a way to win more games than they're losing?
Go 4-5, 5-4 on the strip. I'm satisfied.
Yeah, I'll go 5-4.
I'm satisfied at that too, but I think they go 6-3.
They go 6-3, then I don't want to hear any more about anything. I don't want to hear any more goddamn negativity until the first ball, and not meaning pitch, the first ball is thrown in the postseason. Look, it's 1-0. They fucking suck. Oh, look, Tanaka threw a ball and pitch on the first pitch. They told you they needed starting pitching. It's gonna get. I'm telling you, I'm just bracing myself for it. It's gonna be bad. I see the way the fans act now. These games really don't mean anything. And yeah, you want to tell me till you're blue in the face how important home field advantage is, and I agree with you 120%. Home field advantage is key. The Yankees are going to the World Series if they get home field advantage. I really truly believe that in my heart. But these games in the realm of things, they don't mean anything. This division is locked up. They have a 3-game lead over Houston. It's more important to get these guys healthy. That's what's most important. That's what these next 38 games need to be, or 36 games need to be about. And you flip out every time a run is scored. First inning, Paxton gives up a run. You don't even want to wait and see if the team can come back. How many times does a team fucking come back from a 1-0, 2-0 deficit in the first inning? You know, that team sucks. I told you, blah, blah. It's gonna be ugly if they don't win the World Series this year. It's gonna be ugly, and I might delete Twitter because I'm not gonna want to. I'm telling you, I'm not gonna want to deal with it.
I love it too that last year they can't beat bad teams. They suck against the Orioles. Now this year they fucking destroy the Orioles to a point where the owner probably contemplated just getting rid of the entire team. And now they only beat the Orioles.
But they had the second best winning percentage in Major League Baseball against teams above 500.
Right, and he only hits well against the Orioles, and they only do this. Or then I got a text from my buddy Gibbs the other day. You know my buddy Gibbs?
Nah,
he texted me the other day after they were getting killed against the Indians. And he goes, "Oh, I guess Baltimore's out of town. The Yankees are losing." I said, "What are you fucking out of your mind? They're 40 games over 500. You don't do that by playing teams like the Orioles."
And I'm telling you, even if the Yankees go on, God willing, win this World Series, right? And they do it in 6 games, you're going to have people complaining why it took so long. Oh, they should have won in 5 games. They should have swept.
Well, whatever. As long as they win it. That's all I care about.
It's tough. It's I don't know what it is. You just can't sit back and watch. We all have the same goal here. We all want the Yankees to win the World Series, but we're not there yet. We're in the middle of August. So until we get to October, stop really being like this. Just be happy that you can take, the next couple of weeks off where you don't really have to sit there and stress about regular season games. You don't have to.
We finally have a team that is going to lock up the division. They have a comfortable lead. Nice and comfortable and warm. And now we're taking, and again, I'm not saying that home field advantage isn't important. It is. It is very, very crucial. But don't use that as an excuse now to just complain when they don't win these games at this point. Yes, would it be fantastic? Would it put them in a position to probably be the favorites to win it all? Yes. But if they don't get it, if they lose these games and it just happens that they lose home field advantage, that's not something to just sit there and say, that's it, it's over. No, you still have to be confident in this team because of how well they've played all year. Stop using this as an excuse to not just be happy with the team that's being put on this field and winning almost every single time they go out there. My God, this team goes on a little bit of a losing streak, lose 2-3 games, whatever. They come back and win 8-9.
What was the last series they lost at home
The second series of the year.
of the whole season?
Really?
Yeah, so, I mean, there you go.
If you go back to April, they lost back-to-back series to start the year to Baltimore and the third series of the year, okay? They lost their first 3 series of the year at home to Baltimore. This is how tell you that they weren't playing well to start because they lost the series to Baltimore, Detroit, and the White Sox. Since then, they have not lost a series at home. They tied a couple. They split a couple, but they have not lost a series since the beginning of since mid-April.
I think since then they've only lost 14 games at home.
It's crazy.
Because that was 6 losses probably.
So again, it's very, very important this team locks up home field advantage, but not at the expense of getting these players healthy. And I think that's just where we should leave the show right now.
I agree.
And look ahead real quick. The Yankees are going to be in Oakland Tuesday. They finally get a day off, travel day, of course, so they can't even really relax going out to California. And crazy stretch, 19 games in 17 days is over. It's not going to get any easier for them because, like we said, now they're in Oakland, a place that they don't play very well. And Oakland's in one of their post-All-Star break hot streaks, which has become the norm for them, where they just go absolutely berserk after the All-Star break, where they start making a play for the postseason. Although you got to like the pitching matchup in Game 1 Tuesday night, Herman versus Homer Bailey. Is that Homer Bailey? That can't be Homer Bailey, is it?
No way. There's no way.
It might be.
What's he, fucking 55 years old?
Christian Bale. He looks like Christian Bale.
It is Homer Bailey.
Didn't he get rocked in the head a couple of years ago?
He's got a 5.2.
Well, didn't he get traded to the
ERA.
Dodgers or something this year?
He sucks. But he'll probably spin a gym because, And
he's Batman.
And then it's Hap versus Fires, and then a weird 9:30 start. What the hell that half an hour is going to do for anybody, I don't know. But then it's Tanaka versus Tanner Roark to close out the series, and then a very interesting series over the weekend. The Dodgers against the Yankees out in L.A. 3 games, 10-10, 4:05, and then wrap up Sunday Night Baseball 7:05. That could be, that could be looking into your crystal ball there, a little bit of your future. So we'll see what happens there. I think we're going to have to get creative for recording on Sunday because we can't get together during the afternoon to do our traditional pregame for Sunday Night Baseball. So we might have you watch the game.
Watch the game.
Right. We'll come up with something original there. Okay. So that's the week ahead there. Let's see what happens. The Yankees just got to keep going out there and knocking games off the schedule, stay healthy, play good baseball. It's basically what it comes down to right now.
Bada bing.
All right, so thank you for listening to episode 139 of the NYYST podcast. Follow us on Twitter at NYY Sports Talk. Follow Stat Guy Rye at ijerkofftoanime.com.
Oh,
ooh.
Love it.
No, that's not you. That's him.
That's me.
Oh, I thought you said Stat Guy Rye.
I did, but that's him that does. He watches the animal.
Well, then make it his fucking handle, not mine.
All right. All right, so thank you for listening. Stat Guy Rye.
Go Yanks.
Chris, say goodbye.
Peace.